Hello, it's Shane again. If you're wondering why I'm not on Twitter, it's because I got locked out. I blew up at Justin Trudeau, and then it automatically put a strike on my account. Automatically, after I put all caps what I thought of Justin Trudeau. The guy's a friggin' loser. Now all of a sudden he caved in. After being a complete asshole to Donald Trump. So, so we're gonna listen to Alex Jones and play some Diablo.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next. Visit Infowars.com/show and support the InfoWars.
InfoWars, the most banned network in the world.
It's Monday, February 3rd, 2025. We are 13 days, 23 hours, 39 seconds into the initial booster phase of Trump's Operation Golden Age. All right, we have called exactly what the bad guys were going to do months before Trump even won. Once he was president-elect and once he got into office, and we basically broke down, obviously, what Trump's agenda was. That wasn't a secret, but he's been overperforming, and so has Elon Musk, and so have the teams they brought in. I am wildly impressed, but Trump understands this is an existential death battle. This is not a game, and there's no time to let up here. Now, that said, they are going to try to crash the stock market here very soon, blaming Trump for his tariffs. Now, you have to understand that the Great Depression on record was not caused by the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of Herbert Hoover. It was completely engineered by the robber barons to consolidate power and control, but they did blame him because he was a populist expansionist and they didn't like him.
It's called the art of the deal.
As I predicted, running massive headlines everywhere that this is the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, Herbert Hoover 2.0. And they're blaming Trump for the price of eggs exploding, even though it was completely Biden and the slaughter of hundreds of millions of chickens and all the PCR testing and the inflationary policies. But that's just a microcosm. We've got an amazing clip of that coming up where the White House press secretary puts the fake news person in their place with the statistics. They are really loaded to bear and ready for every question. Massive preparation, massive professionalism, incredible energy, and we've got to push everything we've got because the enemy's already routed and overwhelmed and off balance, but they are definitely still very dangerous. Now, obviously the big news is the tariffs hadn't even gone into place yet on Mexico. And if you look at the trade imbalance, it is incredible. Mexico needs the United States. We don't need Mexico. And it's been set up for decades to deindustrialize this country. Same thing with Canada. And we went over the numbers last night. We'll go over some of the numbers here today. But Mexico and Canada is the equivalent of bringing a toothpick to a gunfight. Now, the Mexican president just called Trump in the last hour and agreed to his demands. And Trump said, okay, the tariffs are on hold. That's the whole point of it when you have someone by the balls who's been abusing you, working with globalists that are trying to run the country in the ground. It's good for Mexico, it's good for America for this crap to stop and to be mutually successful. And so she began the process of capitulating an hour ago. Here's the headline of Town Hall: breaking. The tariffs on Mexico have been delayed. President Trump put out his statement on it. We'll be getting to that coming up. Also, Panama last night says it won't renew Belt and Road Agreement, basically turning the country over to communist China. It's already built their giant refugee centers, bringing illegal aliens into Panama and then transship them up into the United States. And they're saying they're going to agree to giving U.S. ships, military ships, free transit, which was part of the deal of the United States building the damn thing. And then the globalist Jimmy Carter gave that away. Well, guess what? We're done. So they're running around saying Trump's going to fail on every front, and he's not. But if he fails, we fail, and we're screwed. We're all in this together. Share the live feeds now, Paul Revere's. We'll be right back, 60 seconds. What is Trump's grand strategy? I see a lot of people trying to articulate it, both the bad guys and the good guys, and unfortunately, no one has even gotten close to what Trump is doing. Even though Trump has been very open and honest about what he's doing, and it's completely transparent and makes total sense and is the right move, morally, culturally, economically, from every perspective. We want to reject the globalist, deindustrialization, neo-feudalist, depopulationist, death cult model. And then what model do we want? Well, the model that changed the whole world, the American model. So Trump isn't just trying to recognize a multipolar world. He's not just, quote, recognizing that the United States can't be the lone superpower. That's not what he's doing. He's recognizing that the globalists took over the United States completely after World War II, used it to basically take over most of the planet for themselves, while waging war against populations and prosperity and independence and freedom, because they don't want to compete with an informed, vibrant, dynamic, financially diverse world population. Because real diversity is diversity and decentralization and wealth and large middle classes. So today I will, early in the hour, get a little bit more into what the Trump grand strategy really is. I'll do it at the bottom of the hour. Coming up in about 25 minutes. But first, I want to talk about the big picture. Trump's been in exactly 14 days. 14 days ago at 12:08 Eastern, 11:08 a.m., 12:08 p.m. East, he was inaugurated. And in 14 days, he has way outperformed, because of the people he's got helping them, Susie Wiles and Elon Musk and many others. And they understood that they were boldly taking on the corrupt, evil, but also collapsing neoliberal globalist world order. And that order's done. It'll never be reconstituted no matter what they do. But if Trump doesn't succeed, and if we don't relaunch the American system as an example worldwide through soft power, direct to a great extent the trajectory of humanity, society and civilization will break up into a bunch of feuding groups and power blocks, and it will constitute a very dangerous global destabilization of its own. So that's the big picture. Here's what's happening. Musk, in the last week, got partial control of the financial records and systems of the federal government. Saturday morning, they had a rebellion at the Treasury Department and over the administrators that control the Treasury's payment system and records system. So they had those people removed, others resigned, and Musk got control a little bit before noon Eastern time Saturday. Since then, they have released hundreds of thousands of documents and thousands of data dumps, and just pointed out a selection of the fraud and crime, and that itself is a avalanche, a tsunami, a flood, a deluge, and that is only a snapshot. That in and of itself is irrevocably discrediting and devastating the entire globalist, not just here but worldwide, money laundering, political control system of the tax-free foundations, the NGOs, the CIA, the State Department, and their counterparts in other Western countries. So that in of itself is seismic, historic, and we could do 24 hours a day, nonstop, just covering what's coming out. It's all over the top insane. And we knew what was going on, but the specific receipts are even worse than we thought. We're talking about trillions of dollars a year. Trump didn't just freeze the $3 trillion in the NGO slush funds last week, and then some low-level federal judge blocked it for now. And Musk and Trump said, that's fine. We're already in control of the payment systems, and almost all this is totally illegal. And so we're just blocking all these payments ourselves at the executive level. And we're just going to expose it all to the light of day. See how you vampires like that. So that is a huge area we'll be hitting. And as I speak, so much more is coming out. You couldn't cover that in a day. So we have that. Then we have the big enemy counterstrikes. That, Trump's tariffs are going to cause a stock market crash and a new Great Depression. But really, it's the corporate media and their BlackRock private central bank Rothschild owners who are desperate to stop this recovery that will then vindicate Trump and have the whole world adopt the American system again. And there goes their neo-feudalistic, tyrannical, you will eat the bugs, post-industrial hell. But when you actually go in and look at what's happened, the United States gets less than 5% of its goods from Mexico, and less than 5% of its trade is in Mexico. And Mexico has 81% of its trade with us. And guess what? It's the same number, 81%, Canada. And they don't let our products in. They don't let our businesses in. They don't let us do jack crap. But the globalists like that because their big companies are allowed in, that's it. They don't want everybody else to have a level playing field. That would help the Mexicans, the Americans, and the Canadians. By every economic metric, it would cause a huge boom. So Trump said, I don't want to do these tariffs. Open up your countries to our stuff. And stop shipping the fentanyl and agree to put your troops on the border.
It's reasonable.
He's deputized the Texas Guard. He's deputizing other guards. We got a problem. He's saying, help us. We'll help you. And she says, screw you, F you, just like the Colombian president, and he shut up within a few hours. The Panamanian president just last week said, screw you to Trump. Our deal is we built it. You're supposed to give our military ships free transit and give U.S. ships a discount. Nope, you don't get that. We're going to give China free transit and let China come in with their Belt and Road Initiative and take over the country. Well, less than 24 hours after Trump announced these sanctions on
Fuck around, find out.
Panama, the president, we have the video, did a national address yesterday afternoon and said, we're ending the Belt and Road Initiative. We're in your hemisphere, Monroe Doctrine. We want to work in the United States, and you can bring your ships through for free, U.S. ships, military ships. And what else do you want? You'll say, oh, the U.S. is muscling in. We built it. We set it up. Jimmy Carter had to deal with the globalists to sell out America. He's the one that signed it over in the late 70s. The deal didn't go through till the late 90s. And then notice who came swooping in to take it over? China. Who's built giant refugee camps there they used to catapult illegal aliens up in the United States. So Panama capitulated last night. Today's the day the tariffs were to start going in on all Mexican goods, 25%. Their oil, their silver, their avocados. And Trump had to call the Mexican president and said she's agreed to his demands. So the tariff's on hold until she finalizes it. That is instant success, and why wouldn't it be success? Canada and Mexico in cards have the worst hand you could ever have. The United States has the royal flush. But all the policies have been to sell out America and deindustrialize America. On record, China gets 100 new coal power plants a year. We shut down 500 a year. They're almost all gone. They have the cheap energy. We don't. You can't afford to have a factory here. I can buy t-shirts from China for $3 a piece. You want to make them in the U.S., then print them, 15, 16 bucks. Trump used to be honest about it. He said, I would have my ties made in America, but you can't. It would cost us 50 bucks to make them overseas, and we sell them for 50 bucks. We've got to bring the jobs back, and if I was ever president, I'd do that. And you'll see the factories in engineering and jobs flood back in, just like we did the first few years of this administration until they hit us with COVID, to shut things down. So Trump doesn't want to just put tariffs on these people just because they have one-sided deals and he wants to hurt them, but we're going bankrupt. So we have to balance this out. And Trump is very fair about trade deals with countries. He looks at the numbers and says, I'm going to come in with a deal that's good enough for you that you take the deal, and it's good for us too. That's how a deal works. Not, you get everything and we get nothing. Okay, well then we'll just take it away from you. See how you like that? That's what J.D. Vance said. It's what I said. It's what Trump said. He said, these countries are going to retaliate. China, Mexico, Canada. They've already retaliated to our terrible policies by effing us over, by fucking us brutally. So, the standard admitted globalist plan that they've done in countries all over the world, not just third world countries, is to position countries into deindustrialization, massive government spending, and then finally bankruptcy, and the private central banks then come up and have full control and buy everything up, bailing out the country with fiat money, and then they bring in social control if you want the money. Why do you think Africa and Latin America didn't just have a year of lockdowns like the U.S. or Australia or Europe? Or a couple years of semi-lockdown. They had 3+ years of total lockdown. Oh, no farming, no businesses, no everything, just stay in your house and starve to death. Because the IMF and World Bank has almost every one of those countries in debt to them. And they'd go make deals with the leaders, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Here's $1 billion loan. And then wink, wink, don't pay it back. The leader flies off with the money, and then you'll have $1 billion loan to Nigeria that they've paid like 80-something billion on now. It's the same model. It's parasitic. It's hyper predatory. And Trump says this isn't good for business. It's not good for humanity. It's not good for anybody. Elon Musk points out that we are already bankrupt unless we have massive innovation and growth and grow our way out of it. Yeah, Trump has had the headquarters locked. First, he shut them out of their computers Friday so they couldn't erase data. Now Musk has his army of people literally physically taking it over. Already did. And they got federal security guards there and just saying, sorry, none of you are allowed in here. It's a crime scene. We've had a bureaucratic globalist NGO coup for decades that's been dividing America and balkanizing us and destroying us and flooding our borders. And now we elected Trump to go seize control of the government from the bureaucrats and to fix it. And you can have Chuck D. Schumer and Adam Schiff say it's illegal. No, it's not. It's all totally constitutional. Remember, they said deporting illegals is illegal, and that illegals aren't illegal, and that two men can have a baby, and that a fetus isn't a human, but a man can be a woman. So, Trump's policies are 170 degrees different from the globalist. There's a few things it's still the same. But it is almost a 180 difference. But they put giant put options, the BlackRock consortiums, Saturday evening after Trump announced that his tariffs would go in Monday. They put huge put options to crash the market in the next few months. And now they've got the corporate media saying it's over, it's terrible, everything's going to fall apart, Trump's going to doom us. So people believe that. And then you'll have the big BlackRock consortium that controls 80+% of world assets and stock equity. They're going to try to do a big crash. China was working with them, did that DeepSeek thing 8 days ago. And I told you this was coming. The Federal Reserve is going to lower rates for Kamala. Oh, for Trump, we're going to raise them. And they said, we don't care what you say. You can't fire us because we're private. Well, you're an act of Congress, though. You can have your charter pulled from your ass. Or shoved up it. So if you want to be bullied, you want to be enslaved, you like the way things were going before, bitch and complain about what's going on. But Trump came out and said, listen, this could be painful. He goes, I'm trying to get everybody in line who's been screwing us, and if they're smart, these are good deals. But he says, I mean, he put out statements today. He said, but you want somebody to go to war for you, I'm doing it. Nobody ever said getting out of a bad situation is going to be easy. But I liken it to a woman who's got an abusive husband that's broke her arm and broke her jaw and put cigarettes out on her and beats her kids. And at a certain point, you just got to run off in the middle of the night and never come back, or leave when he's at work. And he might try to find where you go and come shoot you. You know what I mean? I mean that's what this relationship is.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
So, but you'd think it'd be all over the news right now that Mexico just capitulated. And Trump knows they can play games. We said, it's on hold for now to see if you actually go through with it. And you look at the demands he had. Put your military on the border. Go after the cartels that are manufacturing the fentanyl. And just a few other things. And let our goods into your country. And she says, okay, because we hold all the cards. He says to Panama, hey, we built that. You're supposed to let our ships through in the agreement, U.S. military ships for no cost. Jimmy Carter gave it to you and lets you administer it. And now you've let China take it over. And they were signing a deal to let China's ships, all of them, go through free. All Trump's saying is our military ships, which was the original deal. So just like J.D. Vance said over the weekend, retaliation from Canada, Mexico, and China? Oh, we've already seen the retaliation to us having horrible leaders that sold us out because they've made their deals with China and Mexico, everybody else. They've got their factories over there. They don't want business over here. That's the globalist model. Trump's done a lot more, too. South Africa's going the way of Rhodesia, which then, of course, got its name changed. And first they took the white farmers' land, and then they killed them. Zimbabwe. And it's getting really bad in South Africa. And so Trump said, well, I'm going to put sanctions on your ass to their communist government. Their president literally gets up and says, kill all the white people. Well, there ain't many white people left there. And so Trump just said, nope. We're not putting up with that. And the globalist left went in there, set it all up, exploited it, destroyed the system that was there, that we're not defending apartheid, neither was Trump. But then you put a communist state in where the whole thing collapses, but the globalists have their military camps and their diamond mines, and then none of the society gets any of the money, only the globalists. The globalists want warlords in charge. So that's coming up. We're going to go to break. I'm going to look at how they plan to strike back, what's happening inside these different federal agencies and the State Department, where trillions a year are being pumped out, and almost none of it even goes for what they claim it's going to. Nation building and democratization, and no, it goes right back in the politicians' pockets. And they found mass crime, mass fraud. The Justice Department's going to be very, very busy. Oh, and a criminal investigation's been opened into Chuck Schumer. But remember, this is an information war. And so if people don't understand that the big private central banks that own and control most of the stock market are getting ready to plunge the markets to try to repudiate Trump, and then with the plunging markets, there'll be false flag attacks on migrant protest with a bunch of them getting killed that'll be blamed on Trump. Then the left will activate all their terror cells, they'll burn most of the country down, and then Trump will be assassinated, and then we'll go to full communism. They'll round up all the patriots, try to put us in camps. That's their plan. That's what they plan to do. They're not going to get away with it because we understand the plan and are 10 steps ahead of them. Only exposing this will stop them. Tell everybody you know, tune in now. Boy, Michael Bloomberg is so upset that it came out that his gun control group are the ones behind the onion and the lawsuits and all of it, trying to shut down InfoWars. And remember back in November, they said they owned it, tried to kick us out of the building. The judge overrode it. It wasn't true. It was a hoax. But a lot of people still think they own InfoWars or InfoWarsStore.com. And so it's really hurt sales by over 70%. So if we don't get funds in at InfoWars Store, we will shut down. Now, even if they're successful, and we're beating them right now, it'll take a month and a half or so for that to happen. So right now, in February, you are able to get all these products delivered to you very, very quickly. All the fan favorites, all the classics, X2, Vitamin Mineral Fusion, Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula. It's all there, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Brain Force Ultra, an incredible fast-acting nootropic with no letdown. Vaso Beats, so good for your heart, your whole cardiovascular system. It's all available right now at InfoWarsStore.com, not owned by Bloomberg or The Onion. All right, the globalist governor of New Jersey is saying that he's hosting an illegal alien at his house so that they won't be deported, and he's telling other people to do that. And you've got the NGOs funding mobs, burning cars all over the place, California, Washington, Chicago, running around waving their Mexican flags and other things, saying F America, F Trump. I mean, on any one of these videos, you play it, and all you hear is F Trump, F America. Because that's the cool thing to do with the left. And they're going to try to crash the economy. And then if they're successful doing that, they are then going to false flag these demonstrations that are just going to get more intense and more crazy. into the summer, and then they're going to activate their communists and Antifa folks, and they're going to burn much of the country to the ground. And they'll have the police in the blue cities stand down. And then when Trump tries to call the military out, they're going to call him a fascist and a dictator. And they are going to try to go to a full civil war. That's what Jamie Raskin said they would do if Trump won. That's what Carville said they would do. That's what John Podesta in the New York Times War Games planned in 2020 if they were unable to steal the election. And they said that's their plan again. And so Trump has to keep them off balance. He has to expose them. He has to have all the messaging showing the human trafficking and how the Democrats were running it. He's got to have very quick indictments of deep state leadership, or they're going to be able to execute all of this. And because the public, most of the public, Democrats only have a 31% approval rating, even in skewed establishment polls, more like 10%. That isn't going to work basically in any scenario. Even if they kill Trump, it'll backfire. But it'll be horrible, and it will destroy the economy, and the different scenarios of what would come out of it are very uncertain and terrible. The left and the globalists and BlackRock and all of them, I mean, they'll be destroyed in this, for sure. I mean, it's the worst move for them. They should just give up and stop. And I guarantee you Trump would leave them alone, but he knows they're not going to stop. So for everybody thinking this was just another election and everybody goes back to sleep now, no. With Trump winning and now Trump getting in and now Trump delivering on reforms, the globalists have to derail this or it discredits their whole system worldwide, not just here. You can't have a free, open, powerful society that's an example of the world if you want global tyranny. So you have the globalist grand strategy, you have Trump's grand strategy. I'll talk about both the strategies in a moment, but let's examine again what I was just talking about. Breaking. The tariffs on Mexico have been delayed after President Trump had a long conversation this morning with the Mexican communist president. I just spoke with the president of Mexico, Sheinbaum. It was a very friendly conversation wherein she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border separating Mexico and the United States. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into the country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for a 1-month period during which we will have negotiations headed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and high-level representatives of Mexico. I look forward to participating in those negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. So, Trump's already having big victories. Panama says it won't renew Belt and Road Agreement, which totally turns over their infrastructure to China and the Panama Canal. The announcement came after a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, during which Rubio tackled the issue of Chinese influence over the country, and particularly the Panama Canal. Panamanian president made the announcement on Sunday saying that although the agreement is not due for renewal for another 2 years, his administration would be looking to terminate it sooner. We are going to study the possibility of whether it can be finished earlier or not. I think it is due for renewal in 1 or 2 years. Now again, the globalists who are running China made a deal decades ago to hand over Panama to them. Then the Chinese double-crossed the globalists. Trump's come in and pushed the globalists aside and saying we're going back to the American system. That's all this is back to the future. But you really don't hear a lot about this in the corporate media. Oh no, Trump's failing. Trump's going to get us all screwed. Again, there's video of Panama's president saying they're ending the takeover of Panama by communist China. Now, let me give you a microcosm example of how they're taking everything that the globalist policies did and created, and then trying to pull a fast one, a shell game, where they then suddenly go, oh no, eggs are record high and in shortage because of Trump. Here's a short clip Nice to see a press secretary actually answering questions for once with real answers. The press secretary burns reporter with a brutal reality check when he tries to blame the price of eggs on Trump. And this is important because this is the type of snapshot that gets Americans' attention when they try to bait and switch and say, oh, Trump's the reason since he got in, egg prices have exploded. No, they've been growing for 4 years and ramping up because of the direct policies. And of course, they blamed Trump saying he was going to cancel DEI for the helicopter crash last week. Then they wouldn't tell you who the pilot was and try to keep it secret, but it came out. She was a Biden official who was just in ROTC a few years ago and is now commanding missions in COG, and you saw the rest of the story. And she's a big LGBT person, or was. Boy, no wonder they didn't want us to know about that. And I'll get into that later with the details. But it's not that she's a woman, or that even she's a big LGBT promoter, that they've scrubbed all her social media and her family's social media and really quick, that we got it. It's that a smaller pool of women try to go be pilots. That's just something that they're doing. So you take a smaller pool, you lower standards, so you can put more of these people in. Doesn't mean there aren't fabulous women pilots or fabulous snipers. Women are just as good at shots as men, statistically. It's that there's less of them, and then they go and recruit women who really don't have the skills, and then they lower standards, and then you see what you get. So they tried to blame Trump for going after DEI, even though he hadn't even put the policies in yet. And then this lady is DEI all the way. For folks that don't know, in 5 years, you don't go from ROTC to commanding COG missions over the busiest airport in the world. I've studied COG missions and the types of people they have doing it, and they are the best of the best of the best. Well, they aren't anymore. So these are pilots that 10 years ago you wouldn't have flying a DHL cargo plane. And now they're flying around on the runways in front of the busiest air traffic in the world. That's insane. Oh, but in all the movies, the women, can kick all the men's asses and are the best pilots. So let's just pretend that and everything will be all right. Unbelievable, but I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So here's what they're going to pull. They're already pulling it. And here's the bad guy's move. There's hundreds of these articles I see every day. Trump launches a baffling trade war against Canada and Mexico. Yeah, I mean, it's totally one-sided. They won't let our goods in, particularly Canada. Won't even let U.S. banks operate there. But then we're wide open to them. Same thing with Mexico, very protectionist. And then all Trump wants is them to stop letting fentanyl pour in and let them manufacture it there. I mean, Trudeau lets them manufacture it, lets people use it up there. He's super unpopular. And so the media is just demonizing Trump like he's crazy. It makes no sense. Why would he say we built the Panama Canal, don't give it to China? Why would he tell the Mexican government, hey, you better put troops on your border and stop this invasion operation that they've been running with the UN, or I'm going to put tariffs on you? And then, their president talked big, but as soon as the rubber met the road and Trump called her bluff, she rolled over. Donald Trump says America could feel pain thanks to tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. And he went on to say, yeah, it doesn't mean we won't feel something, but you've already been feeling the trade war you've been under. Here's another one out of the Wall Street Journal. The dumbest trade war fallout begins. So now they tell you the economy's going to crash, hoping you buy into it, when they're the ones that already crashed the economy. Trump's move to put tariff hikes ahead of tax cuts has spooked almost everyone. Wall Street Journal, oh, be spooked. There's another one. The Great Depression lesson about trade wars. Lots about Great Depression. Car prices face 3,000 increase as tariffs hit auto sector. Yeah, well, you'll just buy American. Hedge funds' massive bet on stock market crash raises alarm for 401ks. Oh, Daily Mail, Financial Times. Oh, no. Trump's tariffs usher in new trade wars. The ultimate goal remains unclear. The goal's unclear? Raise a ton of money off these one-sided trade deals, create balance, and then incentivize investment in infrastructure here in the United States? Have the dollar still be the world dominant currency, but weaken it some, which also incentivizes people to manufacture here. The American system. Trump rightly says Canada will cease to exist without subsidy, and the U.S. has unlimited. EU warns Trump it will retaliate over tariffs. So, this is what you're already hearing. I told you weeks ago you would. You're hearing about the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of March 13th, 1930. You're hearing all about Herbert Hoover and the Great Depression. And that's going to be their play. And the big banks that own and control most of the stock market, that don't like what Trump's doing, because they run the DEI and the whole globalist project to make us dumb and stupid and softened up and controlled and isolated and alone. That's how they conquer us. Want their UN World Treaty to control our bodies and no borders and all of it. So how do they attack? Well, they try to crash the stock market. They already tried last Monday with that deep sea. That was all coordinated. That wasn't made in some garage. That was Communist Chinese government allied with the globalists. It's all come out now. To try to hurt Trump, saying, bring your tech investment here. It's economic war. And now, Larry Fink and all the big boys are betting against the U.S. economy and the stock market. And you've had Jamie Dimon, who acts like he's pro-Trump a little bit on the surface, but he's not. And Warren Buffett and all of them pulling out record amounts of money, not just now with Trump's tariffs, but over the last year, and all of them, Bezos and Zuckerberg, because they were planning a crash once Kamala got in to consolidate power and control and bring in their new central bank digital currency. Trump got in to try to block it and turn the energy and the economy back on. So it's not that you're going to get a crash because of Trump. These same bad guys were already planning it. But I mentioned the egg attack from the press conference. And notice how we have a press secretary that's actually informed how she annihilates them in just a minute and 35 seconds. Here it is.
Christian Dayton.
Thanks, Caroline. Just real quick, you mentioned the inflation executive order the president signed, but egg prices have skyrocketed since President Trump took office. So what specifically is he doing to lower those costs for Americans?
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65%. in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration in the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out the plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing doing that in the days ahead. Thank you guys so much.
Are Medicaid portals down in all?
All right, so I'm not that smart. People continue to say, how the hell does Jones know things years ahead of time? The globalist war game, they think tank, they talk about their plans. It's come out in the new DOGE releases of USAID and these other out-of-control agencies with trillions a year to the globalist corporations and to their operatives and to themselves, talking about fomenting riots anywhere in the world where somebody doesn't do what they want and overthrow governments, including ours. That's coming up next hour. And so John Podesta said again in the fall of 2020, before the election, in a big war game the Democrats had, and the New York Times reported on it, that they were going to have blue states secede, create a civil war if Trump won, calling it a race war. Now, obviously, they're going to need to kill a bunch of brown people and blame Trump. Well, they came back again and said, if he wins this time, we're going to do it again. And then I said, you'll have the illegal aliens protesting with the Democrats en masse. You've got governors and mayors saying, stand up, fight back. You've got Pritzker up in Illinois, signed a law just last week to change the name and give new identities to illegal aliens, including felons. You got the governor in New Jersey just came out and said, you know, we're going to house these people, we're going to protect them, we're going to all this crap. That's a rebellion against federal law. That's illegal. That's aiding and abetting. That's organized crime. That's obstruction of justice. And so they're going to try to crash the stock market. They're going to try to frame Trump. Then the truck bomb, mass shooting of the illegal aliens protesting that are now, as I said in the last few weeks, it's going to get more and more violent, more and more intense as the NGOs give them the orders and the Soros radio stations tell them to go out and be violent. That's confirmed. Bought all the key Spanish-speaking ones so they can hype everybody up. Here's where ICE is. Go get them. Block this highway. Do that. And then when the military goes out, well, Trump's a dictator. And then the deep state sends professional teams to kill Trump. And Trump understands that and knows that, and they're ready, and we're way ahead of the enemy now. We're not naive now. All right? I'm certainly haven't been for a long time, but the point is, my understanding, it was just a realist understanding studying the enemy, is now accepted as just common knowledge. Well, when people think like I do, the good guys, it's game over. But we still have to keep getting this out and say to Larry Fink and all the rest of them, hey, you try to crash all this and blame Trump and populism, it's not going to work. And, oh, if somebody truck bombs or shoots up these migrants, we're not stupid. We know you did it. So everything is proceeding just exactly as they pre-programmed it. And that's a real weak spot for them. It's more than a weak spot. It is legless, spineless. And understanding of this is key. And that means on every issue, they blame Trump for the eggs, point out they did it. They block his policies that'll lower the price of eggs massively, point out they blocked it. They're the obstructionists, they're the saboteurs, they're the ones doing all of this. I'm going to come back, get to all the illegal aliens burning and attacking and tearing down American flags and F America. And then I'm going to look at the governor, saying, oh, take the illegals into your house. I've got one in my house. Well, that's a felony. You're saying you're aiding and abetting a fugitive. Of course, the governor isn't really doing that. He just wants everybody else to do it. They want you to go out like the mayor of Denver and get violent. The guy's a true scumbag. All right, we're going to go to break. We're going to then look at all the stuff Doge is doing, and when it got access to the Treasury payment system and their records, it's amazing. And more is breaking as we speak. And then Dr. David Martin, really the smartest expert on the globalists and what they're planning, not just with the new COVID attacks or new viruses, but also other systems, will be joining us coming up in about an hour and 5 minutes from now in the third hour. Then I'll continue to host into the fourth hour with all the latest breaking news and information. I'm going to just tell the listeners again, I'm very thankful for all your support and everything you've done over the years. And we have great products that will enrich and empower your life. And this fight is far from over. We are winning. And it takes money to have these broadcasts operate and run, and to have the legal defense with the Democratic Party trying to shut us down. But we're turning the tide. We're starting to win at that level as well. But I need your support. Plus, these are really amazing products you want and need. You want to have the strongest concentrate formula of Irish sea moss. Irish sea moss is the superfood. All the vitamins, all the minerals, special and bioavailable, the way they're produced in the sea moss, the very best organic form of iodine where it goes right into the cells. It's contained organically within this special natural compound that sea moss has. And it's got other super ingredients. Get yours right now. And by the way, tomorrow is the last day of the 20% off on all supplements at thealexjonesstore.com. That's on top of the regular discounts. So I would take advantage of that. There's also the ultimate, that's why I named it that, ultimate turmeric formula, the strongest 95% humanoid, also with concentrated ginger, black pepper extract, so incredible for your whole body. When you hear it's good for your immune system and good for inflammation, that means it's good for everything else. It makes you feel great and have incredible energy. I'm gobbling this stuff. It's why I look so good and lost so much weight. I couldn't do it without it. And so many other great products. Try the gut cleanse that's on there. All natural, flushes you out, amazing. Probiotic, best probiotic. It's amazing formula. They're all the very best at thealexjonesstore.com. thealexjonesstore.com. And if you really want to support, plus get the best discounts, become a VIP member and get $40 to spend in the store each month. thealexjonesstore.com that powers this operation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to make two big announcements. First off, next Wednesday in studio, we're going to give away our second big sweepstakes winner on the incredible Ford Trimmer Turbo Diesel Super Off-Road truck. And we're also launching the third big sweepstakes and showing you this amazing off-road SUV that I really want for myself, but one of you is going to be getting it. So let's walk over here right now. Look at these bad boys. So there's the Ford Trimmer. It hasn't been cleaned because that's part of the sweepstakes. I've been driving it around some the last month. It is amazing off-road. I didn't tear it up.
Okay, I'm gonna end this now. Just want to do that first hour. Alright, see you later.